Hi, I'm Gerardo. I'm here with the Mass readings for Friday, October 20th, 2017, of the 28th week in Ordinary Time, from the Lectionary 471. The first reading is from the book of Romans, chapter 4, verses 1 through 8. Brothers and sisters, what can we say that Abraham found? Our ancestors according to the flesh? Indeed, if Abraham was justified on the basis of his works, he has reason to boast. But this was not so in the sight of God. For what does the Scripture say? Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. A worker's wage is credited not as a gift, but as something due. But when one does not work, yet believes in the one who justifies the ungodly, his faith is credited as righteousness. So also David declares the blessedness of the person to whom God credits righteousness apart from works. Blessed are they whose iniquities are forgiven and whose sins are covered. Blessed is the man whose sin the Lord does not record. The word of the Lord. The responsorial psalm. Today's responsorial psalm is Psalm 32. The response is, I turn to you, Lord, in time of trouble, and you fill me with the joy of salvation. I turn to you, Lord, in time of trouble, and you fill me with the joy of salvation. Blessed is he whose fault is taken away, whose sin is covered. Blessed the man to whom the Lord imputes no guilt, in whose spirit there is no guile. I turn to you, Lord, in time of trouble, and you fill me with the joy of salvation. Then I acknowledge my sin to you, my guilt I covered not. I said, I confess my faults to the Lord, and you took away the guilt of my sin. I turn to you, Lord, in time of trouble, and you fill me with the joy of salvation. Be glad in the Lord, and rejoice, you just. Exult, all you upright of heart. I turn to you, Lord, in time of trouble, and you fill me with the joy of salvation. Today's Gospel is the Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 12, verses 1 through 7. At that time, so many people were crowding together that they were trampling one another underfoot. Jesus began to speak first to his disciples. Beware of the leaven, that is the hypocrisy of the Pharisees. There is nothing concealed that will not be revealed, nor secret that will not be known. Therefore, whatever you have said in the darkness will be heard in the light, and what you have whispered behind closed doors will be proclaimed on the housetops. I tell you, my friends, do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but after that can do no more. I shall show you whom to fear. Be afraid of the one who, after killing, has the power to cast into Gehenna. Yes, I tell you, be afraid of that one. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 small coins? Yet not one of them has escaped the notice of God. Even the hairs of your head have all been counted. Do not be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. The Gospel of the Lord. The reflection. For today's reflection, I am using information I found on the Sacred Space website. You can visit their site at www.sacredspace.ie for more information. In today's Gospel, Jesus begins by speaking first to his own disciples. Be on guard against the yeast of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. The fermenting characteristic of yeast is seen by the Jews as a corrupting agent. That was why they only use unleavened bread at the Passover. The corrupting agent in the Pharisees was their hypocrisy. On the outside, they pretended to be what they were not on the inside. There is nothing hidden that will not be made known. It can mean that their hypocrisy will ultimately be laid bare. In contrast to the hypocrisy of the Pharisees, the followers of Jesus must practice transparency. And although much of the teaching that the disciples receive is in private, ultimately all will have to come out into the open. The church is not a secret society, although it has its mysteries, its special teachings, and rituals, which are only fully understood by those who are inside. The church is of its very essence evangelical. Its purpose is to share the vision of Christ with the whole world. This is crucial to the setting up of the kingdom, the accepted reign of God in the world. Jesus also says at the end of today's gospel, "Even little birds sold in the marketplace for a few cents do not die unknown to God. The very hairs of our head are counted." So our duty is clear, to proclaim the good news of the gospel with openness and integrity, and not to fear the consequences, because we are not alone. Thank you for listening. Have a blessed day.